Good morning. You're watching AnewZ. I'm Leila Masimba. Here's the top stories. Protests intensify in Los Angeles as Trump deploys hundreds of National Guard troops. The United Nations Ocean Conference begins in France, aiming to encourage more countries to ratify a treaty that protects ocean biodiversity. Azerbaijan's national Chovken team has become European champion for the first time in history. Protests intensify in Los Angeles as the U.S. President Donald Trump deploys hundreds of National Guard troops. The demonstrations erupted after federal immigration raids on Friday targeted workers in southeast Los Angeles and around the city.
Tensions in Los Angeles escalated on Sunday as thousands of protesters took to the streets in response to President Donald Trump's deployment of the National Guard. The move blocked off a major freeway and saw self-driving cars on fire as law enforcement used tear gas, rubber bullets and flashbangs to control the crowd. The demonstrations come after the president pledged to deport record numbers of people living in the USA illegally and tighten security along the US-Mexico border. His administration set a goal for US immigration and customs enforcement agents to arrest at least 3,000 migrants each day. However, the enforcement sweep has also affected some people legally residing in the country, including permanent residents, sparking legal challenges and further fueling protests.
I think that's honestly what's heartbreaking the most, because they're making it seem like they're really bad people, like criminals, and when they're not, when they're just trying to work hard for their own families.
I feel sad about how they treat our Latino people from Guatemala, Honduras, El Salvador, Latino people from Mexico, Central and South America. I'm not happy about what's happening. These illegal raids are taking hard-working people. It's not fair, it's not right, it's not right, it's not right. We came to work.
Governor Gavin Newsom condemned the National Guard deployment as unlawful. Meanwhile, President Trump defended the move, calling the protests radical left riots and threatened strong law enforcement action.
Be watching it very closely, and when they spit at people, they spit. That's that new thing. They spit, and worse, you know what they throw at them, right? And when that happens, I have a little statement. They say, they spit, we hit. And I told them, nobody's going to spit on our police officers. Nobody's going to spit on our military.
Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum criticized the U.S. government over the immigration raids and deployment of the National Guard in Los Angeles during a public event.
We do not agree with this way of addressing the immigration issue. The phenomenon will not be addressed with raids or violence. It will be by sitting down and working on comprehensive reform that takes into account all Mexicans on the other side of the border. That is our position, and we always call for peace, for non-violence, not to intensify any violent form of protest, none.
Legal experts warn that deploying military forces against civilians risks infringing on constitutional rights and upsetting the balance of federal and state powers. The protests continue near Los Angeles City Hall as the city remains deeply divided over immigration and law enforcement tactics.
President Donald Trump's new ban on travel to the U.S. by citizens from 12 countries takes effect today. Trump introduced a sweeping new travel ban last week, blocking nearly all immigration from dozens of countries, most of them in Africa and the Middle East. The order also imposes stricter visa requirements for nationals from several other nations. The administration says the move is aimed at strengthening border security and preventing visa overstays. Critics argue that policy is discriminatory and politically motivated, with some foreign governments already retaliating diplomatically. Israel says it has uncovered a major Hamas command center beneath a hospital in southern Gaza. and claims to have killed that group's chief during a raid. The army gave foreign journalists a guided tour of what it says is a tunnel complex under the European hospital in AnewZ.
Israeli forces have shown foreign journalists what they claim is a Hamas tunnel complex discovered beneath the European hospital in Khan Yunis, southern Gaza. Military convoys make their way through destroyed streets, passing scenes of devastation after months of fighting. Outside the hospital's emergency entrance, soldiers pointed to a deep hole, said to be the gateway to a command center used by Hamas fighters.
We are here in the city of Khan Yunis. This is the European hospital right behind me. The European hospital in Khan Yunis. You can see the very big hole in the ground right in front of it. This is the entrance we opened for a very big command and control compound, Hamas command and control compound. Yet this is another example of the cynical use of Hamas, using civilians as human shields, using civilian infrastructure, hospitals again and again.
Mohammed Sinwar was the leader of Hamas in the Gaza Strip and of its armed wing, following the killing of his brother. He held both positions until he himself was killed by the IDF in May 2025. Footage from inside shows a narrow concrete passage with mattresses, clothing, and belongings. This is what Israel claims were signs of an underground hideout. The Israeli army says the raid also uncovered weapons, cash, and documents that are now being analyzed for intelligence. Speaking recently, Osama Hamdan, a Hamas official in exile, said the group has not rejected the latest efforts by the USA to reach a full ceasefire.
We confirmed that the movement did not reject the latest proposal of Witkoff, but we presented some comments and improvements to the proposal in order to ensure that this war ends.
In a push to stop the militant group, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has confirmed that the country has been arming opposition groups in the Gaza Strip.
We have operated clans in Gaza who oppose Hamas. What's wrong with that? It is only good. It only saves IDF soldiers' lives.
The latest claims and counterclaims underscore how deeply hospitals and civilian sites have become entangled in this war.
Ukraine has released new drone footage showing a direct hit on a Russian strategic bomb at Belaya Air Base in Irkutsk. The FPV drone is seen flying a long distance before striking the aircraft, with the smoke visible from earlier attacks. The base houses long-range bombers used in missile strikes on Ukraine. This marks another deep target operation in Kyiv's campaign against Russia's air power. President Volodymyr Zelensky said 117 drones were used in the so-called Spider's Web operation by the SBU security service. The Kremlin has launched a formal investigation, calling the strike a serious breach. Officials say Russia will respond when it sees fit, as military bloggers slam the incident as a major intelligence failure. Volodymyr Zelensky says his country's recent drone strikes destroyed more than a third of Russia's strategic bombers, using what he described as cheap drones. In an interview with ABC News, Zelensky claimed that the attacks had wiped out 34% of Moscow's long-range bombing fleet. But U.S. officials offered a more conservative estimate. Speaking to Reuters, two American sources said up to 20 Russian warplanes were hit and around 10 destroyed, roughly half the figures cited by the Ukrainian president.
A little bit more. And we have our analytics that we destroyed 34% of their strategic jets, and especially those jets which they used to attack our civil infrastructure, people, children. They killed a lot of people. It's not about hundreds, it's about...
Amid ongoing fighting in eastern Ukraine, police have evacuated vulnerable civilians from the front lines. Among them is 4-year-old Milana, who was fitted with body armor for her safety.
In Ukraine, danger looks and sounds like this. In eastern Ukraine, a police evacuation vehicle moves through the battered streets of Kostyantynivka as a drone detector picks up a threat overhead.
The situation in Kostyantynivka is very tense. It gets worse every day.
Amid the chaos, a fragile moment of protection. 4-year-old Milana is gently secured into body armor by police before the journey to safety.
I'm worried for my child. She needs to develop, go to kindergarten, learn and play with other children. We need to start a new life. She has to live her life and develop. She can't live her life sitting at home or in the yard.
They're among the lucky few who are safely moved into a quieter area in the Donetsk region, where Svetskova's older son awaits them. Elsewhere in the city, another life uprooted. Halnya is helped from her home with her cat by her side and the sound of shelling close behind. Her cat serves as a reminder of a life she now has to leave behind.
I found bombs in my garden. They destroyed so much. My bedding was hanging outside and then, boom, everything was tossed around.
One by one, civilians are being pulled from the fire. For now, they drive towards safety. But the war and its scars follow close behind.
The Colombian senator and potential presidential candidate Miguel Uribe Turbay remains in a critical condition following an assassination attempt in Bogotá. Hundreds of people assembled in the capital in a show of public support. Authorities continue to investigate the circumstances surrounding the incident.
Hundreds of people marched through Colombia's capital, Bogotá, in support of Senator Miguel Uribe Turbay after an attempted assassination. The demonstration went to the hospital where he is receiving medical treatment.
Estamos aquí orando por la vida y salud de Miguel Uribe.
We are here praying for the life and health of Miguel Uribe. May the Lord grant him strength and make him recover soon.
According to hospital officials, Uribe underwent surgical procedures on his head and left thigh and remains in intensive care. His condition is listed as critical. The incident occurred on Saturday in the capital during a public campaign event. Witnesses reported that 6 shots were fired, 2 of which struck Uribe. A suspect, identified as a minor under the age of 15, was taken into custody at the scene. The 39-year-old senator, affiliated with the right-wing Democratic Center Party, was conducting early campaigning activities ahead of Colombia's 2026 presidential election. He comes from a politically prominent family in Colombia. His grandfather served as president between 1978 and 1982. His mother, journalist Diana Turbay, was kidnapped in 1990 and killed in 1991 by an armed group under the command of the late cartel leader Pablo Escobar. The Colombian government has announced a reward equivalent to approximately $730,000 for information leading to further developments in the investigation. Authorities are examining whether additional individuals were involved or coordinated the attack. Colombian President Gustavo Petro has ordered a comprehensive investigation, including a review of existing security protocols.
Tens of thousands of protesters gathered in Madrid's Plaza de España on Sunday, calling for the resignation of Spanish Prime Minister Pedro Sánchez. The demonstration, led by opposition leader Alberto Núñez Feijóo of the Popular Party, comes amid a growing political scandal involving Sánchez's inner circle.
Thousands have flooded Madrid's Plaza de España this weekend in a mass protest led by Conservative Popular Party leader Alberto Núñez Feijóo, who demands the resignation of Prime Minister Pedro Sánchez. Amid chants of Pedro Sánchez resign, Feijóo accused the socialist government of corruption and deception. These are claims Sánchez denies.
We are here as a country, standing up to a government that is lying to us. Here we are Spaniards who do not keep quiet. Surrender to democracy, call elections. We want them now. Do it, if you're as democratic as you say.
The rally follows leaked recordings suggesting efforts to discredit investigators probing Sanchez's family. One official involved has since resigned. With over 100,000 attendees, the protest was one of the largest against Sanchez's government and a clear show of strength from Spain's opposition.
World leaders are gathering in Nice for the largest ocean summit in history, the United Nations Ocean Conference. Hosted by France and Costa Rica, the event aims to accelerate global action to protect our oceans, which face growing threats from climate change, pollution and overfishing. More than 10,000 delegates are attending, with a key focus on securing ratification of the UN High Seas Strategy and advancing Sustainable Development Goal 14, life below water. French President Emmanuel Macron is urging countries to commit to real change, but experts say words must be matched by action and funding. Just 2.7% of the world's oceans are effectively protected, far short from the 30% target by 2030. Hundreds have taken to the streets in Nice and France ahead of the United Nations Ocean Conference, calling for urgent and meaningful action to protect the world's seas.
On the sunny shores of the French Riviera, a wave of blue-clad demonstrators filled the Promenade des Anglais this weekend, demanding greater protection for the planet's oceans. Known as the Blue March, the demonstration drew activists, NGOs and ordinary citizens united by a common message. It's time for real action.
We expect this conference to lead leaders to take concrete measures to protect the oceans, particularly in France. We're behind. We have marine protected areas that aren't truly protected, and that's the key measure we wanted to push through this march, to have marine areas that are truly protected.
From marine biodiversity to the rights of coastal communities, protesters also highlighted the urgency of ratifying the UN's Ocean Treaty and safeguarding small-scale fishers.
Today and for the next week, we'll be here to protect our oceans, to ratification of the Ocean Treaty, and just to highlight the importance of the sustainability of small-scale fishers, marine protected areas and the coastal communities.
Nice will officially host the third United Nations Ocean Conference, known as UNOC 3, starting June 9th. Security is tight across the city, particularly along the promenade, where 86 people lost their lives in a 2016 terror attack. But this week the spotlight is on the seas. Heads of state, scientists and NGOs will address a wide range of challenges, from climate change and pollution to sustainable marine resources and biodiversity loss.
So we're trying to build a bridge between the science and the public, because sometimes it's difficult to understand what the scientists are talking about.
Hioth will be sailing in Sunday's symbolic sea parade, part of a flotilla welcoming the summit. He's not alone. The Okeanos boat will also take part, representing youth engagement and education. UNESCO's Marine Policy Chief, Julien Barbier, says the ocean is not doing very well. Rising sea levels, pollution and disputes over fishing and undersea minerals are just some of the urgent topics on the agenda. Previous conferences were held in New York in 2017 and Lisbon in 2022. But with the Mediterranean in view, all eyes now turn to Nice, where the world's ocean future is once again on the table.
The European Commission is facing mounting pressure after German media alleged it secretly funded environmental NGOs to push its climate agenda. While Brussels denies any wrongdoing, the report has reignited debates over transparency, lobbying and politicization of green policy.
The European Commission is rejecting claims made by Welt am Sonntag, which alleged that up to 700,000 euros was paid to green NGOs through secret contracts to support climate policies, including legal action against German coal plants and opposition to the EU-Mercosur trade deal. According to the report, organizations like Client Earth and Friends of the Earth were among the beneficiaries. The paper claimed the Commission sought to leverage NGO influence to raise pressure on German industries and sway internal EU trade negotiations. Brussels firmly denies these allegations. It insists all funding was allocated transparently under the EU's LIFE programme, a €5.4 billion environmental funding mechanism. The Commission says these grants were awarded through standard procedures and published on its financial transparency system. Still, the issue has stirred political controversy across the bloc. The European People's Party, the largest group in the European Parliament, says the Commission may have crossed a line by indirectly using NGOs to lobby lawmakers, raising concerns about institutional neutrality. In January, the EU's Budget Commissioner acknowledged that some activities funded under the EU's LIFE programme may have been inappropriate, specifically those that involved directing NGOs to lobby members of the European Parliament. Though not illegal, the admission added fuel to political criticism. The European Court of Auditors later described the funding process as opaque, warning that the lack of clarity exposed the Commission to reputational risk, even though it found no violations of EU law or values. In response, the Commission issued new guidance in 2024. These instructions prohibit the approval of NGO work programs that contain overly specific lobbying activities targeting EU institutions. Brussels has also promised further safeguards and closer cooperation with the European Parliament and auditors to ensure better oversight. Meanwhile, NGOs involved in the report defended their role. Client Earth clarified that EU funds were used only for operational support in its German office and not for legal expenses, pushing back against the claim that Brussels orchestrated court action. Friends of the Earth did not comment publicly.
Kazakhstan, Tajikistan and Uzbekistan have agreed to share water from the Tajikistan's Bahri Torjuk reservoir during the summer of 2025. The deal covers irrigation use from June to August and aims to ease seasonal shortages. Under the new protocol, Kazakhstan alone is expected to receive nearly 500 million cubic meters of water during the peak of the agricultural season. Officials say the agreement marks a step forward in regional cooperation and sustainable water management across Central Asia. From fierce gaming battles to standout cosplay and local creativity, the Game Summit in Baku closed on a high note, spotlighting intense tournaments, impressive costumes, and a thriving community of small businesses and creators.
It's the final day of the Game Summit 2025 here in Baku. Local developers, creators and gamers have come together to celebrate the event. The atmosphere is quite vibrant as people come here to play tournaments and also showing off their cosplays.
The summit wraps up with high energy, from creative cosplay and indie showcases to intense gaming battles. Cosplayers took over the venue, dressed as their favourite characters, with some spending months perfecting every detail. Their creativity was on full display, and many were here not just to pose but to compete.
I'm doing a ghost cosplay from the game Call of Duty, Modern Warfare 2. I think Game Summit is a great event. The atmosphere here is amazing. The participants are very interesting, and there are quite a lot of games and various cosplays.
I'm doing a wildlife photographer cosplay. This kind of camouflage is used when photographing animals. This game summit stands out from the others because the atmosphere is truly great.
My cosplay is Navi, game Genshin Impact, and my cosplay is Doki Doki cosplays. Game Summit Festival is so beautiful and big festival. He has cosplayers, gamers, or other fandoms, or other.
While the costumes grabbed attention, the controllers were just as busy. Tournaments ran throughout the day, with gamers going head-to-head in everything from fighting games to strategy showdowns, especially during the finals where competition reached its peak. Small businesses also had their moment. From cultural snacks to handmade items, booths across the venue offered a little bit of everything. For many, it was a rare spotlight and a chance to grow their brand in a community that gets it.
This is the eco-style of scrapbooking called junk journaling. In general, you do all sorts of different things with paper, and then you sew together little albums like this for photos, for journaling, like diaries. And the colouring should only be done with natural materials, so the paper is dyed with tea, coffee, herbs, flowers.
So not many people know our stores, but here we can show our product and we can also give the booklet, and then many people say that, oh, I didn't know that. So it's kind of the good opportunity for us to show our stores.
We are Azerbaijan's first and only team dedicated to custom model collectibles. We participate in exhibitions like this, almost everyone in fact. Our main focus is on car-related events. Our goal is to promote and grow this hobby in Azerbaijan.
Board games were also on display, with their creators working hard to introduce them to a wider audience.
We're just attending and displaying our local built card-playing game. So we are coming here with a zero expectation, but we faced really huge and extraordinary impression and interest from the audience. So totally we are very glad about having some interaction with the locals right now, and it's a very exciting process right now, I can say.
After packed days of gaming, creativity and connection, the 2025 Game Summit comes to a close, leaving fans inspired and already looking ahead to next year.
Azerbaijan's national Chovkin team has become European champion for the first time in history. As a tournament held in Poland, Azerbaijan's team achieved a historic victory by defeating Malta 6-2 in the final.
Azerbaijan claims historic victory at European Chovkin Championship. Azerbaijan's national Chovkin team has claimed its first ever European Championship title, marking a significant achievement in the country's sporting history. The prestigious tournament, organized by the International Chovkin Federation, took place in Poland. In the final match, Azerbaijan secured a commanding 6-2 victory over Malta. Chovkin, a traditional Azerbaijani horseback sport involving players striking a ball with wooden mallets, continues to gain international recognition. The International Chovkin Federation announced plans to expand the sport's reach with upcoming continental championships, the Asian Championship in Uzbekistan this September, the African Championship in Nigeria later that month, and the South American Championship in Buenos Aires in November. Azerbaijan's triumph is seen as a milestone in promoting and globalizing Chovkin, further solidifying its status on the international stage.
To Turkey now, located in the Ibradi district of Antalya, Otun Cave has attracted great interest from tourists with its stylish cities and water pools. Visitors who board boats have the opportunity to witness this natural wonder with millions of years of history up close.
The Altın Beşik Cave in Antalya offers visitors an unforgettable natural spectacle. With a history spanning millions of years, the cave stands out with its impressive stalactites and water pools. Gohan Kavashoglu, an employee of the Ibradi municipality, states that the temperature inside the cave remains constant at 15 degrees Celsius throughout the year, and the natural formations have been well preserved. The cave, which is 2,500 metres long and spans 3 levels, allows tourists to explore a 200-metre section by boat, navigating through water pools that reach depths of up to 40 metres while observing magnificent stalactite and travertine formations. In recent years, interest from both local and international tourists has grown, and guided tours are provided with safety measures in place. Altin Beşik Cave stands out as a unique destination for nature lovers.
We're done for now, but don't go far. Stay tuned for more and have a wonderful morning.